Once in a generation, a girl is born. She has chosen to fight the evils of the world and sometimes kiss vampires. At number 5, we start with Buffy and Angel. Now, let's go back to the 90s, an era I'm sure some of you haven't even been around long enough to experience. But yeah, in the 90s, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a very popular series. And it introduced Angel, this cool, mysterious, slightly older kid with a cool leather jacket that Buffy was intrigued by. And he gave hints and clues to solve whatever crisis she was dealing with. Sometimes vampires, sometimes demons and other things. Then we find out that he himself is a vampire, but unlike other vampires, he still retains his soul because of gypsy curse. Because, shut up, it was the 90s, gypsy curses were much more commonplace. So, a relationship started to bloom between this vampire and the slayer of the vampires. Of course, it wasn't easy. Though Angel was admittedly a dreamboat, her friends had some fears. One being that he would eat her, and not in the kinky way. Oh my god, I just went Sander. If you haven't watched the series, you will understand what I mean. But I am not gonna linger on that. Anyway, Vampire and Vampire Slayer, a couple that shouldn't happen but did. As they continue on, stuff happens. They fall deeper and deeper into love, despite the fact that Angel is hundreds of years older than her. Eventually, on her birthday, Buffy and Angel have sex. She loses her virginity to him. And honestly, there's no slut shaming, no like tisk tisk, which I honestly find very refreshing, especially for the time period. Well done, Joss Whedon. The bad thing is, it turns out that the curse breaks if Angel ever has a moment of pure happiness, and results that he loses his soul. He becomes a vampire once more, and in fact, one of the most feared vampires to ever roam the earth. Angelus. And, oh boy, things get rough there. Angelus is not your typical evil. He is evil with a capital E. He was known to enjoy twisting the knife to torture psychologically as well as physically. And now that he's free, without that pesky conscience that a soul provides, he turns against Buffy. And for quite some time, he torments the girl. And it's like bad. In the end, the only way to stop him is for her to finish it. At first, she can't do it because she still sees him as Angel, the guy she loves. But things get worse and worse. And at the end, she's forced to fight him face on. Meanwhile, her friends try to re-ensoul him to end this. That was a bad idea. As the battle comes to an end, he gets his soul back, but it's too late. He releases a monster. He has already released a monster that threatens to consume the world. The only way to stop it is for her to run him with a sword, ending him. He's taken into the portal, and the story ends. Quite terribly, if you think about it. She's heartbroken. She runs off. Her life is in tatters. And you think that would be it, but no. Forces of above, and I'm probably talking about executive producers, have brought Angel back later. They try to work it out, but in the end, they both agree that Angel's hundreds of years old. He can't be out in the sun, and that would restrict her way too much. It would be better for him just to leave Sunnydale and let her grow up to fall in love again. And that's it. When she graduates high school, he leaves to Los Angeles and his own series. And you'd think that would be it. But no. Ugh. Joss Whedon is probably Angelus in disguise because he loves to twist the knife. Buffy goes to Los Angeles and visits Angel. And they talk, and kinda civilly. But then a monster attacks them. Things go worse and worse, and eventually they fight the monster, and some of the monster's blood touches Angel. It heals him, like, really well. It brings him back to life. He has a soul and everything. He's human. He can be out in the sun. They have a moment where they can actually be together. There's nothing stopping them. but there's always something stopping them. Angel realizes that he's the liability. He doesn't have super strength anymore, and Buffy is still the vampire slayer. She has to fight the good fight. And he will get hurt. He did get hurt in this time. Now good has lost a champion. So he ends up going to some oracles with some very good voodoo they have. They rewind time. So everybody except him will forget what happened. The world goes back as it was. He'll be turned into a vampire again and be able to end this threat. As the world's about to be rewound, he goes to Buffy. He tells her about his choice, and he holds her one last time as the world is rewound. The monster attacks again, and instead of getting hit by its blood, he quickly kills it, ending the threat. Together, and that's it. The couple departs. They look one last time at each other, and that's officially the end. Honestly, David Boreanaz, the guy who played Angel, did an incredible job playing him. So much so they gave him his own spin-off, and he was magnificent in it, honestly. He brought pathos and great character development into his character. And Buffy Summers was played wonderfully by Sarah Michelle Gellar. They had chemistry. It worked. Unlike Twilight, and it saddens me that this actually probably inspired Twilight. They had a good rapport. This whole dark brooding thing, everything worked for them. But in the end, they had a tragic ending. Especially if you ignore the comic, they had one final glimpse of moments, and that's it. They could have been happy together. They honestly could have. Buffy didn't care that he lost his powers. She just wanted him. But no, that's the kind of guy Angel was. He decided it's more important for them to help people than be happy, and that's a tragic thing. And that's why I like that story. That's why they made it so high on the list, because it genuinely felt it. There is a story going around that the actress Sarah Michelle Gellar, when filming their last scene on Angel where they hugged, was crying, and most people think it was just a character saying, "No, no, I don't want to lose you." Some people are saying she was crying because she was devastated because these two characters were being split up. And honestly, I could go either way. Sarah Michelle Gellar is an incredible actress, so she could play it off, but I felt like crying when watching that scene. It's like devastating. They pick helping people over their own romance, their own happiness, and that's she's like that's what makes those characters heroes and makes you want them to be happy. Okay, at number 4 we have, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering the Japanese language again, but here we go. Kodaka Hasegawa and Sena Kashiwasaki in Hagina. Hagina? I cannot even pronounce the English title. Okay, this is kind of a typical harem anime. The protagonist and a bunch of girls like him. There are some twists, and sometimes it kind of flips the script. It's very aware at its nature as a harem comedy, and sometimes it will twist it around, switching up tropes. So that is a delightful take, but it's pretty much a harem comedy. Kodaka, he kind of looks like a delinquent, though he's kind of a nice guy. It's just his blonde hair that makes people think he's a delinquent, but it's actually natural. It's a bit musky looking, but it's the natural color. He refuses to change it because it's the same color his mom had. It was her natural hair color, and he kept it because it reminds her of her, and she's passed away. He needs that reminder, but it makes him an outcast. Soon enough, he runs into this girl Yosura, who is also an outcast, and she's kind of mean. They form a club together, and eventually other outsiders join them. Eventually, their goal is to try to find a way to become people that can make friends. And wacky hijinks ensue. The thing with Senna is she's kind of a rich bitch. Mind you, she's probably been isolated a lot because she is rich, she's popular, she's beautiful and all that. She could never make proper friends, but she's kind of a bitch. But that slowly changes over the series. Not much, but some. And it develops. The reason I picked Kodaka and Senna to be together here is because there is development between these two. One, she asks him to take him to a pool so she can learn to properly swim. She acts all snooty to the wrong guys, and she's gonna get in trouble. Kotaka steps in, and using that delinquent look he has, he scares them off, and then tells her why that was the wrong thing for her to do. She understands, she gets it, and they have a lot of interaction together that kind of comes off as datey. They go on a shopping trip together looking for a gift for a birthday present. They hang out, they have some moments. She invites him over for a study session. That's kind of a date among themselves. Kotaka and his little sister even stay the night once and after dinner. And Sena and Kotaka have a lot of time together. Also, it turns out that their parents knew each other. The reason he got into that fancy school they go to is because his dad pulled some strings. It also turns out that the headmaster, Sena's father, and Kotaka's father, they're engaged. Not the parents, the kids. Kotaka and Sena are engaged since they were little. They have a whole marriage contract and everything. They just didn't know because nobody told them. They find out and they dissolve it. But it stays there. They have a picture of them playing together as children that they don't remember doing, but there they are. They were kind of childhood best friends since like one. It's an interesting little moment there for them. And Seneca is still socially awkward, but she's very comfortable around Kotaka because he doesn't treat her like some beautiful prize. He treats her like an actual girl, like a normal person, which she appreciates. And Kotaka would because he thinks everybody should be treated as people, as themselves, not not by their appearances. And there's a lot of good moments there, even though Senna is weird and off-putting at points, especially around his little sister. She's trying to make an effort. She's trying to get along with his sister. She wants them to be a family. And it works. They develop this relationship, and it ends up with, they dissolve their marriage, but while Senna is just playing on her video game, she finally starts talking. She tells him, I think we should get married, to the shock of everybody in the room, which is everybody in the club. She admits, yeah, I know our parents made this contract when we were little without any of our consent or anything, but I don't think that matters. I think we should get married because I love you and I want to be with you. She realizes a moment later what she said out loud, but she doesn't backtrack it. She says, well, I was going to tell you eventually, so what do you think? And Kotaka runs away. I'm not kidding. He makes up an excuse that he didn't hear her and just walks away. That's Kotaka's problem. He confesses that he wants things to stay the same way. He wants everybody in the club room to stay together in a club room. But if he gets in a relationship with anybody, it's gonna mess everything up. So in the end, he asks her, "Can you wait until we settle all this up? And then we can see what happens." And she agrees. And it's a nice moment. It's not definite, but yeah, there we go. And it's a good moment. He admits he's thought about her in more than friend ways, so yeah, it seems like possible. Then the last novel comes out. He asks her to wait for him. She says yes. Nothing really comes out from that. Not only do they just stay friends, he dates a different girl in the club room. One who really didn't get that much development. I will give you, she has been very supportive of Kotaka, but, what is, I wish I could be making this stuff up. I really wish I could, but I'm not. That's literally what happened. One of the characters who didn't get much development, she didn't get a lot of time with Kotaka, and they're the ones that start dating at the end. That's it. And I really don't understand why that happened. I really don't. It's like Yosra was annoying and I didn't want her to get with Kotaka, but I could have seen it. They were childhood friends. They hadn't seen each other in like a decade, so that's why I didn't ship them. But yeah, Senna and Kotaka had been having moments that seemed deeply romantic. They had teases. they had moments that actually seemed like dates. They had family history together where their families knew each other. So if they decided to get married, they would have their full support and everything. Senna was a bit weird with her with his sister, but that also showed that she was actually making an effort to get along with her. She took them to an amusement park because she knew an event was happening that she would enjoy. Senna, there was just a lot of build up for why Senna would work out with Kotaka, but then nothing of that came out. That's why it's so high on my list. It's just upsetting me as written, and it's like what the hell? I wouldn't even be so much upset if they gave Yukamari, the girl who more development, if they had more moments with her and Kotaka, but they didn't. That's the problem. As written, I can understand people's intent. There have been forum discussions where I've read into this, and they've explained why this is the best couple. But no, the thing about writing is not about intent, it's how it comes across, the feeling it invokes. And that's, it's not just me, a lot of people were like saying, where the hell did this come from? Why aren't anybody else but him together? It's like, oh, my hair went back to normal, good. So yeah, I didn't like how, that's why the Senna and Kotaka didn't end up together. I suppose you could argue that the other couple, the couple could end differently later on, and Senna could hook up with him later. But yeah, it didn't happen in story when it ended. So yeah, like endings are hard. Endings are hard.